And we're live. Woo!
Hello, we're live. I love the opening credits, Tim. What a fun moment.
Well, thank you very much. And today's guest is Norma Jean Belenky. And for some reason, for a long time, I thought it was Belensky. I think I was getting
Oh,
confused.
yeah, everybody tries to add an S in there. There's no
Yeah.
S.
So, the people who are watching probably the replay are thinking, why was this show at 10 o'clock and why is it on a Thursday? So, the 10 o'clock is because Norma Jean, I was going to say that in the way of Billie Jean, Norma Jean. Norma Jean is based in Bali in Indonesia, even though you're not originally from Indonesia, are you?
No.
So, first question is, because, well, for everybody else in the world, Bali is exotic and romantic and wonderful place. Can you say a little bit about how you ended up in Bali? Because you're not from Bali originally, are you?
No, I'm not Balinese. Yeah. Important distinction. And thank you everyone for joining us. Replay live. Yesterday was Nyepi, which is the day of silence here. And so my internet was shut off and it was just completely quiet. There's a whole ritual and belief system around the ceremony that the Balinese do and the Ogo Ogo parades and all of that. But so thank you for joining us today, first of all. Thanks. And I live here. I'm in Ubud. I live in Ubud, Bali, or I think properly it's Ubud. And I've been here for several years. I got stuck here in the pandemic, actually. That's how I ended up here. I could be more exciting. I was stuck. So basically I kind of used to live here a long time ago and kind of came and went and was living in New York at the time and really kind of settling in there and love podcasting. I think we're all just podcasters at heart. And I had accepted my role with Podbean. And before my start date, I came to run a festival. When I accepted my role with Podbean, I said, we had agreed on the start date. I said, I'm just going to come and help run a world music and yoga festival, a yoga and world music festival called Bali Spirit Festival, which is just incredible. It's a really incredible festival. And there's just, yoga teachers from all over the world that come and just really special. And so then, it was the pandemic. And so the festival got canceled. I was here. I got stuck here. And I was able to still start with Podbean because we all went remote in the pandemic and the borders were closed and it was, so dramatic. But that's how I came to live here. And now I live here. Yeah.
Ooh. So, from a Western perspective, what is Bali like?
Sorry, my nose is a bit runny.
Apart from the compulsory day of no internet and quiet one, what else?
Just one day a year. I have to preface, it's just one day a year. But if you Google it, it's Nyepi, Nyepi, and they close the
just
airport.
when we happened to originally schedule the show, so it was.
I know. Sorry about that. But yeah. So thank you for being so accommodating. Really. What's it like living here? My goodness. Okay. Well, do you want me to tell you like a typical day, I guess? So I wake up and I try and drink a healthy juice. This is going to be so boring. I'll just tell you it's going to be so boring. And then I make a coffee and then I work and then I take a break and then I work more and then I have dinner and I watch a movie and I hang out with my cat and I go to bed. So I have a pretty normal life. But it's different. I think it's interesting if you're here for a short time or if you're here on holiday or if you have more free time. There's so many beautiful things to do. The nature here is incredible. There's a lot of beautiful waterfalls, water temples. The beaches, I gotta say, Thailand has pretty amazing beaches. Bali has nice beaches, but it's different. They're not like a postcard. It's a little bit different. But the nature here is truly incredible. And I guess anywhere I live, I strive to have a good quality of life, but I'm very lucky that I live here. Yeah.
Okay. Well, as it's your job, and we met at Podcast Movement because of your job at Podbean. First of all, there will be some people who are like, what on earth is Podbean? Is this some sort of weird coffee company that makes podcasting coffee or something.
Gosh, that would be so good if we handed out coffee. Oh gosh, it'd probably be very good for us at a conference. I'll tell you a little bit about Podbean.
Yeah.
We're a podcast hosting and monetizing company. So it's where people publish their podcast. So if you don't have a podcast, you're listening to this, you're like, I don't know what that means. Wherever you listen to podcasts, right? If you're listening via Apple Podcasts, if you're listening via Spotify, via Amazon Music, Podbean, we also have a public app called Podbean. If you're listening there, that's not necessarily where the podcasts are hosted. When you make a podcast, you publish the audio onto a hosting platform, and that hosting platform is going to give you an RSS feed. And then you submit that RSS feed to all the directories, all the places you want people to listen. So like Apple Podcasts or Spotify, for instance, would be a directory. And so, we host over 600,000 podcasts. We have incredible ad solutions, programmatic ads, which is all very technical with computers in real time, and DAI, which is dynamic ad insertion, which is where you can select a timestamp on your episode and then put in a new ad so you can serve fresh ads on your whole back catalog. And we have a whole ads marketplace if you want to advertise on a podcast, or if you want to put your podcast into the marketplace so that people can advertise on it. And my role with Podbean is pretty fun. So I support our enterprise clients in Asia Pacific, in Australia and Singapore, and all the places on the side of the world in this time zone and near time zones. And that's mostly for podcast networks and for our enterprise plan. So let's say like you're a bank or you're a government organization or a big company and you want to have a podcast, but just so your employees can hear. A lot of those companies are like really strict security. So we have a whole podcast hosting platform and software for those kind of companies with real strong security and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, we don't talk about it a lot at public podcast conferences because it's the exact opposite of what most podcasters want, right? Most podcasters want to have everybody listen to their show. And when you're looking at, the enterprise level stuff, large financial institutions, big pharma, governmental institutions, that kind of thing. You're really working with exclusively like, procurement departments and security. And it's really quite involved. It's incredible technology. And we have like a private app and we white label apps and there's all sorts of stuff there. So I support our enterprise clients in APAC. And then also I produce and host Podbean's in-house podcast, Podcasting Smarter. So this is the funny thing, Tim. I've got to tell you, and for everybody out there who works in podcasting, as soon as you tell people, oh, I work in podcasting, the first thing they ask you is, what's your podcast about? I love podcasts. And they start listing, there's like, oh, I love this murder mystery podcast. I love this is the news podcast I listen to, Armchair Experts, or, whatever it is. And they're just, oh, I love all these podcasts. It's so cool. And it's great. But when I tell them I produce and host a podcast about podcasting, immediately no. They regret they asked. Unless they're in the industry or they're excited about it. That's kind of, the general response. Or they want to know, more about it. And then I explain how podcasting works. And they're like, oh, okay. But, we're a couple hundred episodes in on Podcasting Smarter, which is a really fun weekly show. And then I also produce our virtual events at Podbean, which is really incredible. We're actually doing an event on Tuesday for chronic kidney disease. So it's a cause that's really close to the team here at Podbean. And we got some just incredible experts, top nephrologists and pharmacists and, real kidney experts. So part of my job is that I get to really connect with different communities within podcasting, which is really fun, and do some cool stuff. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you a very personal question now.
Okay, go for it.
What podcasts do you listen to on a regular basis?
Oh no, this is so embarrassing. This is like the cobbler's kids have no shoes. I'm the worst. I'm the absolute worst. Honestly, it's horrible. The top podcasts that I listen to are news. It's so like literally. I mean, it's not even like I listen to Pod News, which is James Cridland's podcast about all the news within podcasting, which is very industry. Sorry, my ear itches. I'm very casual with you here today.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry. That's a casual show. So.
I'm happy to be here. It's nice to be a guest and not the host. I'll say that. I think maybe also I like the New York Times. I like the Daily. I like NPR's Up First. Really just like general news. And this is the other thing with some of the events that we produce, I'm listening to upwards of, I mean, if we're doing a much, much larger event like a summit or a podcast week, 200 podcasts a month, on different topics, different subjects, just, listening to the kind of content that people are creating and whether we can, bring them in for an event. So it's hard for me to listen to that many podcasts nowadays. I'll be transparent because I listen to so many as part of my job. My job is really fun in that way. News for me is a real treat. And also, I think when you live abroad, you kind of miss out on like the overall zeitgeist. Cause like in the US, and it's not quite this prevalent in England, but it's more so than here. I'm like driving a scooter and there's rice fields and whatever. But in the US, there's like, if you go into a gas station or a diner, there's screens, there's people are playing the news. So you get that kind of, or there's newspapers around. You get a peripheral awareness of what's going on. And I don't get that as much. I have to seek it out. So that's the most boring answer. Sorry.
Like if boring is true, then that's what we want to find out.
But I do also, I do also like Fresh Air by Terry Gross, which is, a traditional radio show. I just really enjoy the variety of guests from politics to artists, musicians, actors, writers. I think that's really interesting. I think for me, and even now, it's a lot of episodes over shows because I'm so curious all the time. And there's not necessarily one specific genre of life where I'm like, oh, I gotta like every week listen to that. It's more, what information can I find and where is it and who's saying it? And you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to ask you another bad question now.
Okay, great. No, they're great questions. I'm just the most interesting person in the world.
If you listen to like 200 odd shows occasionally for work, you must know what appeals to you. What is a good podcast to you and what is a bad podcast to you? It's like in terms of when you listen to a podcast.
I don't know if I can publicly talk about that.
Oh, well,
no. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
A good podcast is going to be anything, first of all, that is meets, general guidelines, I have to say, that meets kind of best practices, right? Of just making sure that you cater to your audience, that it's conversational. Not necessarily you're in an interview or having a conversation, but that the audience feels like they're part of something. I think that's really important. And that also depends. Podcasting, there's so much stuff. There's narrative, nonfiction, documentary podcasts. There's horror. There's true crime. There's news. There's interview shows. And within interview shows, there's so many different genres, business, wellness. Here's another niche of podcasts that I actually really love, Tim. You're going to laugh at me. I love sleep podcasts. I love them. Yeah. Oh, I love them so much. I love them. I love what's called a yoga nidra, which is like a guided body scan meditation. I put it on every night to go to bed. Love it. Love yoga nidra podcast. So I think, okay, so in terms of a good podcast, here's what I think works in general. Consistency, pace, listening to any audience feedback or coming at your podcast from an audience perspective. Being able to take feedback on board and just pivot. Everything changes. Everything. And if you ask any podcaster to listen to their first episode, they'll cringe and they'll be like, oh God, don't make me. I think, there's technical things we could talk about, like being too close to the mic or being too far away from the mic or things like that. But I think it's about being true to yourself, being true to your audience, and being consistent. I think that that's really important. So those would be kind of the basics. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm going to do my usual thing and fly off onto a different topic entirely.
Okay. On my end, you're cutting out a little bit. And for everybody out there, sorry if I'm the one who's breaking up. Am I breaking up at all?
You're not breaking up. As
Okay,
far as
great.
I'm aware, I'm not breaking up. If anybody's
No,
watching,
I think your audio is coming in clear. So, anyways, I just wanted to, if I
well,
was breaking up, I can
maybe
repeat myself.
I'll just have to use like sign language, and we'll like have to. You'll have to work out what I'm asking you by where I put the pen.
Hi, my name is Norma.
Oh, we've got a comment from Gabriella saying neither of you are breaking up.
Oh, great. Okay, thanks, Gabriella. Sorry
And
about that.
Gabriella's got a new AI looking.
I love that. I love
Yeah, it's
portraits
really
like
good.
that. I love all of those like AI, what Bitmoji, they're all so fun.
Yeah. Well, you can type in a description now. Anyway,
Oh.
on your, as I was saying before, before the chat, before the show started, you've probably done more things than even I've done, and I've done a lot of things. So on your profile, it says singer-songwriter as well. I think that's on Instagram somewhere. So talk about the singer-songwriter
Okay.
stuff.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so for many years I made art. For many years my main life focus was creative expression. My nose is so itchy right now. It's been very hot here, so sorry if I'm a bit fidgety. You're the end of a 12-hour day, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Well,
My
you're
work
the
call started
start
at
as well.
7 a.m. this morning. We were still emailing and I was like, good morning. And Tim's like, oh, our interview's tomorrow, but it's still my today because of the time difference. So, okay. So for many, many years, my life was about creative empowerment. And I think I kind of had three values, right? It was creativity, vulnerability, and authenticity. Those were the three driving factors for me. And I did a lot of things in that time. I made music. That was kind of the first thing and something I still do. And I sing and I write songs. I have this kind of very jazz voice. And then also, I started out kind of singing songs that I wrote, and then I have a very jazzy voice, so people have asked me to sing jazz. And then now, because of my personal meditation and spiritual practice, I sing a lot of mantra, and I'm learning to play the harmonium, which is it's an instrument from India, and it's also called a hand pump organ. So you're playing piano keys with your right hand, and then you're pumping like an accordion style bellows almost with your left hand. So it's kind of like a thing. So that's interesting. So I have 4 albums out on the internet in the world. The first one I produced and released that album before I ever played a gig. It just happened that way. It was really wild. And I met some friends that were really supportive, and I was able to hire some musicians here in Bali many, many years ago when I was just on a short trip. And yeah, I really was able to do something interesting. So that was very cool. And then I moved to Australia, and then I moved to New Zealand. And then when I got back from New Zealand to Bali a few years later, many years ago, I came back and I made my second album, Bali and Back Again, which was pretty fun. And then in 2020, in the lockdown, I kind of came up with this concept called All the Feels. So that was really fun. And yeah, that was a really beautiful album to make. And then last year, I made an album and I did a big Kickstarter for it, actually, because a friend of mine, a very good friend of mine, had lost a family member. And I just felt like there weren't tools and resources for grief.
Yeah.
People don't, grief is just like, it hits you like a freight train, and in the moment, what do you do? Right. And so when this friend of mine had lost a family member, I, in that moment, recorded a prayer for her. And it was really special. And she wanted to play it at the funeral. And I think they couldn't for technical issues, but yeah, it came out really beautiful. And so I was very inspired and just very guided, I guess, by the universe to create this album, I guess, divinely guided. And it's called Transitions and Grace. So that's my latest one. And it's mantras and prayers from around the world paired with different instruments. So we did the Tibetan Heart Sutra mantra with a shamanic drum from Northern American earth-based tradition. I did a call, which is a prayer from, it's like a chant from the Sikh tradition, and they use it a lot in Kundalini yoga. And that's paired with crystal bowls, played by a beautiful woman out of New York named Susie Sands. She's phenomenal. And then, God, I'm just fidgety today. And then we did the Mourner's Kaddish from Judaism with Tibetan bowls, which was incredibly beautiful. And then so I did a Kickstarter with this album. And as part of the Kickstarter, you could add your loved one's name in remembrance to the album, which was really beautiful. And so we raised enough money that I was able to add a bonus track. And so we did Amazing Grace with a harmonium, which was really beautiful. And that kind of also inspired me to start learning harmonium and all of that as well. So yeah, that kind of happened. So that's been, I guess, my musical journey.
Yeah.
And somewhere along the line there, I started drawing cartoons, and they're not, when I say I started drawing cartoons, people think like New York, or no, they're little line drawings, but I drew an original cartoon with a different, kind of quirky message every day for like 3 years. And so it kind of developed a following from there. So that happened. And then I made a clothing line I have a little t-shirt line of some of the cartoons. Yeah. So I think it's important to follow your creativity. I think, creative expression is like breathing. It's part of the human condition.
Yeah.
And when we limit ourselves, there's a part of us that is limited in a way that feels like it's dying, and that doesn't feel good. So whatever that expression is, do it. Dance, sing, write. Whatever it is that you feel flows. I think it's really important to do that.
So would you describe yourself as a musical innovator then? It sounds like you're always looking for new instruments and new things to try and use, so to speak.
I don't know. I mean, I really don't play any other instruments. I really just sing. And so for me, songwriting is just so cathartic. It's more like a song just comes out. Like it's not even like, oh, I'm working on this and I really work on the song. I'll write a song. It's very rare that I write a song, but when I do, it takes 15 minutes. It's almost just like it's not about the songwriting. It's about the expression and getting it out of your body, out of your heart and into the world, I guess. Yeah. Yeah. And then the harmonium is really also because I really like to sing mantra. I do a lot of mantra singing. I'm on my own at home with my cat, meditating every day. It's fine.
Yeah.
I have this whole other kind of side. And, it's been really nice to accompany myself singing mantra. And that's been a really beautiful devotional practice. So, yeah, that's been really cool.
Okay. So let's flip on to another. You also used to, apparently, though, I think you've still got it on your website. You used to run, is it yoga retreats or Pilates or something?
Yeah. No, not Pilates. No. I love a Pilates. So years ago, I was living in Ubud for a stint in Bali. I was back here. And I just noticed there were a lot of different kind of options coming up. And there were a lot of things that, people were self-certifying as experts. And there just wasn't a lot of transparency about kind of spiritual practices and resources that were available or options. Right. And so I thought, okay, what would it be like if women had an opportunity to come to Bali and to be exposed to and learn different meditation practices, movement practices, creative practices, in a safe environment, in a fun environment, to be able to build your own spiritual practice, right? With meditation and yoga or whatever it is. And I had a beautiful retreat company called Camp Clarity, and that was incredible. I haven't run one since a few years ago, I think 4 years ago, maybe 2019. And they're incredible. I mean, the most amazing things happened on those retreats, and I feel so blessed to be able to guide women in that way. I don't know if I'll be able to do that in future with what I have going on right now with Podbean. But you never know. So, and it's definitely a skill set that I think I take with me everywhere. So that's been really cool. To really work with people on that deep of a level. The women that have come to Bali and done these retreats, their lives have just completely changed. Yeah.
So, I was also going to ask you another personal question, but what would you say your spiritual beliefs are? Are you from a kind of Western tradition, or are you more from the kind of Eastern side of religious, spiritual belief, so to speak?
Oh, I mean, I think, it's so common to say I'm spiritual, but I'm not religious.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily. I think even spirituality in its own way is a religion. I think it's interesting. I think that it's whatever road you take, if you go down it enough, like far enough, you get to the same place.
Yeah.
Whether that's through prayer or meditation or any kind of devotional practice. So, it's interesting. Some things are kind of non-denominational, right? There's a lot of like mindfulness meditation, and I think there's going to be something different that works for everybody. I don't think it's a cookie cutter kind of thing. I've really had the opportunity to cultivate several different deep practices within my life, and I feel really grateful for the opportunity to have those practices and to develop those practices. I feel like that's really been a gift. And to work with some of the people and the teachers and just friends who've guided me to different practices, I think has been really lovely. But that doesn't necessarily mean that someone who's going to church or going to synagogue or going to a mosque isn't on the same path. This is just kind of how my journey has looked.
Okay. So, what would you say is the future for Norma Jean Belenky?
Oh, I don't know. Call in a psychic.
Yeah. Well, are you going to stay in Bali, or are you looking at Thailand, thinking like, oh, that's nice?
No. I'm not looking at Thailand. No. I'm not looking at Thailand. I mean, I did live in Korea once. I love South Korea. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I lived in South Korea from 2010 to 2012. Over 10 years ago I left, and it was fantastic. It's even more fun and cool and modern now. And gosh, do I love a Korean sauna. Oh my gosh, I love a Korean sauna. Have you ever been to a Korean sauna, Tim? It's like going through a human car wash. I'm just going to tell you. Here's what happens. Okay. I'm sorry we're going on a tangent, but like
Korean
saunas are just
tangents are appreciated.
They're just chef's kiss. Okay, so you go in and there's a men's side and a women's side, and that's the wet area. And then after the whole rigmarole, then you go into the dry area. So I'm going to describe the wet area. The wet area is like the sauna part, and there's all these different hot tubs. And like a dry sauna, a wet sauna, different depending on which Korean sauna or jjimjilbang you're going to go to. They have however many pools they're going to have. Then you want to go in for the scrub. Now, traditionally in Korea, you scrub each other, right? So if you go with your family and you scrub your mom and your mom scrubs you, and it's incredible. But if you're not Korean or if you are by yourself, you can pay. And that is, I mean, because I didn't grow up with it, so I don't know I don't know the technique. But let me tell you, when you pay this woman, so I used to go and just get the normal scrub, which was like $20, and they use almost like a Brillo pad. It's like a mitt that goes over your hand. It's incredible, and they don't like scrub the top of they like scrub, like they're scraping. There's 3 layers of skin are coming off. It's disgusting, and you feel clean. It's like the best of both worlds. And so anyways, I used to go and I would go to the woman with the table who does the scrub, and I would just, pay the $20 and then like get the scrub. And a friend of mine was like, I'm going to pay for the most expensive one. And at the time, neither one of us could read or write Korean. Now she's, pretty fluent and I can read, but I don't, it's phonetic. It's a phonetic language. So I don't really know what I'm reading, but I can kind of, if it's a word I understand, I can understand the word if I'm reading it in Hangul, which is the Korean script. And so anyways, my friend says to the woman, I'll get the most expensive thing. And I got to tell you, every week from then on, the entire time I lived in Korea, that's what I did. It was incredible. From what I remember, this is what the woman did. Okay. So you get the body scrub. Then you get rinsed off and then you get washed with like a lather. So you're laying there and there's this like luxurious foamy lather all over you. It's amazing. Then she rinses the lather off. Then you get a full body massage. And then she walks on your back, like full like moving. Yeah, no, pretty great. Full body massage, and your skin's so soft at this point. I mean, yeah. I think there's a foot massage somewhere in there. She cleans your ears. She grates a cucumber, packs it on your face, washes your hair. It's a human car wash. It's the most clean, incredible feel. Like it's so good. So that was a highlight for me living in South Korea. Gosh. And then after that whole rigmarole, then you put on these like gym clothes. Everybody has these kind of like matching sets they give you when you check in. Then you go into the actual jjimjilbang. That's just the sauna. And then you go into the different sweat lodges, kind of, with different hot, dry rooms, have varying temperatures. Some of them have different elements. I remember I went to one in New York because I was just like missing the Korean spa experience so much. And they had like a salt cave room. Sorry, I'm so excited. And so I just love Korean sauna. And just incredible. So yeah. That was, and then after that, you kind of go through all the different hot rooms. And then there's a restaurant there. You usually eat soup, you hang out, you read a book, you hang out with your friends. Like you can just go for hours and hours. And then, you take one more shower and you go home. It's great. But you can also sleep there. You can stay in them. Most of them are open 24 hours. So I love a Korean sauna. I don't know how long I'm going to be in Bali.
Yeah.
I don't know how long any of us are going to be anywhere.
Yeah.
Every time I try and predict it, I'm wrong. So this is just where my life very much is right now.
Yeah.
Community, friends, house, life is very much here. I love traveling. And I love traveling for podcast conferences. I'm very lucky to have attended a couple with Podbean recently, as part of our team. But when I come home, this is currently where I'm coming home to. Yeah.
Okay. Right. Well, this show has two questions that we've asked people, and I think one of them is not really applicable to you, so I'll ask you the other one.
What are both of them? I don't want to miss one.
Well,
have I gone over our time? Is this a half an hour show? I thought it was an hour.
Yeah, it's normally half an hour, but it's not.
Oh man, I've used up all our time talking about Korean saunas. Oh,
yeah, I think that's one of the better clips I'll have from the show.
Oh, thanks for that.
The two questions are: there's the llama question, and then there's the free animals question.
Oh, I got to take the llama question. Always llama.
Well, the trouble is, my co-host Christelle, who's clearly not on the show today, I've always, because we interview a lot of business and other people, so I'm going to frame the llama question with regards to podcasting.
Okay, sure.
If Christelle was starting a llama farm, and wanted to run a podcast to promote her llama farm, what would be your advice to her?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so here's the question though. Is the farm, like, what's the farm doing is it a petting zoo? Is it the hair? Why the farm?
I think more the petting zoo though.
Okay, got it. So you're selling an experience. Is that right? Okay, got it. Just got to have specifics about this. Okay, so has anybody else ever asked that question?
Yes. Like people, I've got a whole compilation on the YouTube channel. This show, people answering the llama.
Well, there you go. Yeah. Okay. So, in terms of the llamas, if she wants to have a podcast and market it, it's really going to be like a llama experience, right? So, if she had a podcast, I think that here's the thing. I would love, if I listen to a llama podcast, I would want to listen to llama facts. I would want to listen to hearing testimonial about people's llama's experiences. I think that would be really cool. I'd want to, if it were video, I'd want to have a little bit of like a nice vignette of panning over the llamas. I'd want to have a featured llama of the week. I'd want to know interesting things about llamas. I want to know why their hair is so soft and why they have such a good temperament and you know what I mean? Little things about them. I think it'd be really interesting. I also want to know kind of the animal husbandry angle. So I think that's really cool. You could bring in some vet sponsors. I think you have an opportunity there. Also, I think that don't people use llama fur for clothing? Isn't that a thing?
I think so. That's been
I'd want to know all the uses for llama, you know what I mean, for llama products, I guess. I'd want to know about the world of llamas. Yeah. So I think you're saying for marketing it or for promoting it?
Well, just in general, it's
Yeah,
never
no. I mean,
really
it's got to be
got
World of Llamas. You got to hit up the people who go to Peru, who go on those like Machu Picchu quests. You got to hit up the llama crochet people. You got to hit up the people who want to have like a animal experience. You got to hit up the animal husbandry people and make it like World of Llamas. You know, own it.
And you could give me I created this GIF the other day.
I love llama. So good.
We've massively gone over time, but we'll carry on anyway for a few minutes. And I'll ask you the free animals question, which actually is a me question because I got bored with asking people what they do at conferences. So I started asking them this question instead. So if you had to describe yourself using 3 animals, what 3 animals would you pick?
Ooh, I wonder though, like, could I say mine for myself, but then could I also hear yours for me? Because I feel like it's also a question about how other people perceive you.
Yeah,
okay.
so.
All right. Here's the ones I would probably pick for myself. Maybe like a little bit of like a dog, like a pug. I feel like pugs are kind of one of my, things. I'm friendly. I'm really bubbly. I'm just excited all the time. Like, I just have like a little bit of a pug vibe, I feel like. I think also, I don't know.
You can have imaginary animals as well. So.
That makes it even harder. It's very hard for me to choose things, I think. I have choice. What's that called? Decision exhaustion. The other ones would probably be maybe like a bear, like a curious bear. I'm very curious. Just I like sweet things. Like a honey bear. And then maybe like a toucan would be maybe. I don't know. Tropical, in flight. I don't know. Yeah. A pug, a bear, and a toucan. That's odd. I don't know why those just came to me.
Well, I mean, I always used to tell everybody I was a panda, a sloth, and a cobra.
A cobra? Why a cobra?
Well, because most of the time I'm pretty passive, but then every like 5-10% I can go into the sort of like jumping around, being a bit more active. So it's a cobra side.
They have cobras here in Bali. It's hectic.
Well, that's one of the good things about London is that we haven't really got many dangerous animals. So
no, but you have very good cheese.
Very good cheese.
Yeah, at Neil's Yard in Borough Market. I've been. It's very nice. Which is a bit random. It's a random thing to say about England, but there you go.
No, we don't. Well, I think it's that America has got pretty dreadful cheese, and I'm not sure what cheese in Bali is.
Asia it's not in the diet here. No, we have amazing food, but it's not. We're not dairy heavy. Although I do have to say, a friend of mine went to London and brought me back some tea from Fortnum and Mason, which is lovely. So
which
nice.
Is probably manufactured in Indonesia.
No, I think Fortnum and Mason is actually from England. It's the royal blend. It's a bit posh.
Yeah, it's a
bit posh. But yeah. Cobras. Yeah, no cobras there. Pretty lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Huh.
Anyway, I don't know what I would describe you as animal.
Right? Do you feel like jumpy, pug, little honey bear, little toucan? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, certainly you're jumping around, kind of almost like a little frog or something. You're jumping around from thing to thing to thing a little bit. Something.
I am a frog. Rabbit. Rabbit.
Anyway, on that note, before we totally derail the time on this show and keep that, I think Gabriella might still be suffering watching us. So, I can see one viewer. It was Gabriella. She's probably like, oh my God, like tired of bears.
I'm excited. I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me, Tim.
Well, it's been great to have you. Okay, I should ask you actually, if anybody wants to follow you on social media, let's say they want to buy your album.
Yeah. That's all on my Instagram. So because I do those cartoons, it's Norma Jean Loves Doodles. So for all my private stuff, and then I don't really have any podcasting social media. I'm not one of those like podcast industry people that's on Twitter. I don't have the bandwidth, to be honest. I'm doing too much other stuff. But yep.
Okay, well, I'm going to try and work out how to play the outro title. I've got better at it, but I used to be terrible at not being able to finish shows. And I was always kind of like, Christelle, rescue me. Come on,
End it, Tim. It's been fun, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
It's been fun. Oh, we got a comment, actually. What was the comment? Oh, Gabriella, yeah. Thank you so much for sticking around, Gabriella.
Thanks, Gabriella. Thanks, everybody.
All right, let's find... Goodbye, everybody, and thanks for being on the show, Norma. Bye.
Thanks, Tim.
This is what God requires.